You're listening to Our Two Satoshis podcast with hosts Justin and Billy from CryptoBiz.com.
Billy, we're coming up on a milestone mark here for the Our Two Satoshis podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man.
What's that?
Yeah, so just to kind of give a little backstory real quick, Billy and I are both, cryptocurrency enthusiasts, and a little over a year ago, we were trying to gather our thoughts on our trading and just talk amongst ourselves, and we decided to start CryptoFizz.com as a resource for us, but also for anyone out there that wanted to kind of follow our progress and work along with us to be successful with this. So we started our podcast, Our Two Satoshis, for any new listeners about 3 months ago. And we are, I'm sure we will with this podcast, go over the 3,000 listener mark.
All right.
Not
Not bad. Yeah.
Not bad.
Making moves.
Yeah. Let's pop the bubbly here at like noon on a Friday.
That's right. It's a half day, baby.
So everybody that's listening, I just want to thank you all out there for listening, whether you listen on Spotify, iTunes, Overcast, and a plethora of other different platforms. And then, I want to give a big shout out also to Tao over at BTC News. It's an app you can get in the App Store. We are listed in that along with a bunch of other cryptocurrency news blogs and sites. So it's been awesome partnership, and just really want to thank him over there. So let's jump into it. Actually, for the new listeners, we basically go over cryptocurrency news that's out there right now, kind of give our spin on it, or our two Satoshis. And then we kind of dive into a few things that we're looking into. We talk about our winners and losers, and that's the gist of our podcast every week. We also have special guests on from time to time. We've interviewed a few CEOs from different cryptocurrency companies, and this month on July 23rd, have my date right this time, Billy. On July 23rd, we have planned to interview Jez Sand, the CEO of Funfair. So that should be pretty cool. We were excited about Funfair Raw.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and they're actually, speaking of Funfair, they just signed on a new partner.
Oh, what's that?
Actually, it's not top of mind. I can pull it up real quick. It's an Asian gaming company.
Nice. Well, I know that their direction was, in the beta phase to bring on a partner to help them build out the platform before they really took it mainstream. So maybe this is that partner.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's gonna take me a second to find it here.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, we'll talk about that once you pull that up here in a little bit. Let's jump into some of the news we talked about prior to the podcast when we were prepping for it. So kind of the first first segment here on our podcast today is going to talk about some of the big things happening out in the, government world relating to cryptocurrency, how different countries are embracing it. So the first thing that I have on the docket here is, and actually this is a big one that you brought up, Billy, was the Swiss Stock Exchange is about to launch its own cryptocurrency exchange. So that's going to provide some validity right there.
Yeah, so something I've kind of noticed is when you look at all the various parts of the world and how they treat crypto from like a regulation and just how they feel in general about it. The U.S. and the Asian countries have been much more receptive to crypto and trying to embrace the new technology and not stifle innovation, and try and regulate it in a very liberal way, so to speak. But on the other hand, a lot of the European countries have been very conservative and haven't really warmed up to it yet. So the SIX group, which is basically this, has a smaller piece called the Swiss Stock Exchange, and that's basically a group of like 130 banks that are basically saying, hey, it's about time we get into this. So long story short, they're going to build out this exchange, trading desk. It's going to be used for custody, for larger investors, So I think early 2019, they're actually going to have this, European exchange that's going to be kind of like the US or like the European equivalent of Coinbase. So it's a big one.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's like the CEO of that group says it's abundantly clear that much of what is going on in the digital space is here to stay. So it's
hmm
funny that you see it on both hands. He's in the money, in the financial sector saying this is here to stay. And then you look at other people, which we'll talk about here in a second, that
Right.
are in the same sector but are just constantly throwing shade at it. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's always going to be those people that are trying to stop the wave, right? And it's like you're going to be left out. You're going to be swallowed up. Um,
It's why don't
so
you embrace it
it's
now? Like before you have to struggle down the road.
yeah, it's almost like, is it a lack of foresight? Like, do you think they just don't understand that it is a big deal and it's actually going to happen, or are they just trying their best to stop it? I'm not sure
I
which
think
one it
I
is.
mean personally I believe it's them trying their best to stop it because they know it threatens their business so much. It's actually
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example of this. I actually saw a commercial yesterday, a Walmart commercial. So we all know that that Amazon is the biggest retailer in the world now, and it
hmm
threatens, Walmart's business so much and has been hitting Walmart so hard. Well, Amazon has had for years now Prime shipping, where you pay $100 a year, whatever, you get free 2 day shipping, right?
hmm
Well, I just saw a commercial yesterday for Walmart that Walmart from Walmart.com is now offering free 2 day shipping, and you don't have to have an account and pay for the service or anything. And Walmart.com's website has a bunch of other retailers on there as well. It's not just them.
hmm
So it's almost like, I guarantee you in the beginning, Walmart was throwing shade on Amazon saying, they're not going to be able to do this. We have all these brick and mortar stores. We have all this infrastructure built out, this logistics and everything. Well, now they're embracing this saying, okay, if we want to compete with them, we have to kind of model our business somewhat after theirs and do what they're doing, you know?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I mean, once you notice this, like, it's, a macro trend, software is eating the world, and there's, a certain lifestyle people are getting accustomed to, created from Amazon service. Um, so I think it's wise that they're finally like, okay, let's step in line here. And I want to say that Walmart actually, not to get too sidetracked non-crypto, but I think they actually bought a startup that was an Amazon competitor called
Yeah, they bought
Jet.com.
Jet.com. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Actually, talking about sidetrack there, I do want to mention one thing. How cool is freaking Elon Musk? The dude's cool as shit. You see what he just recently did with this whole Thai kids thing?
I saw a headline that says he was sending teams over there, but I don't know what he's doing specifically.
Yeah, so if you all aren't watching the news, which this has been out for about a week now, I just told my wife about it today and she didn't even know. It's crazy. But there's
Yeah.
this group of Thai soccer team trapped in this cave, which they
hmm
can't get out of because there's like a mile of water. There's all this water that came in. Well, Elon Musk is like sending a team over and like explaining how you can send a tube in there that they can come out through a tube rather because the kids don't even know how to swim and they got to teach them how to dive to get out of there
Right.
and stuff. It's like I don't know, not to get too sidetracked, but that dude's freaking cool as shit. He's my idol.
Uh-huh.
Like I love him, and I love the fact how he's not on one little political side either. How he kind of is just straight to the point about stuff. I don't know, cool
Exactly.
ass
He's
dude.
just straight shooter. He's kind of like real life Tony Stark,
Well, well, there
like
is that.
Iron Man.
There is that. There's that theory that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. I
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
he's a programmer. Uh, he was a co-founder of PayPal, but before that, he was the founder of a digital currency company that ended up becoming PayPal with another, Peter Thiel's company.
yep.
So it's not a big stretch. So I don't know. I digress.
So one other thing that you were mentioning that's pretty huge. This actually only came about an hour before our podcast. Was Gemini. So Gemini, the exchange that the Winklevoss brothers run. You want to kind of take this one away, or you want me to touch on that?
I think you
Over
might be more
Archie?
versed on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So Gemini it's partnered with Coinbase. It's basically an exchange. The Winklevoss
hmm
brothers are big into it. They are bringing the New York Stock Exchange's tech chief over to be the first CTO or Chief Technology Officer of Gemini.
Nice.
So he was the Chief Information Officer at the New York Stock Exchange prior. What do you think of that?
That's so badass. And it's like, I've seen this term a lot when I browse Twitter, crypto Twitter, and it's the brain drain. Basically, all the talents moving into crypto. And I think it's very smart, obviously, that they're going to be, poaching these traditional finance guys into their companies because it's going to help them bridge that gap. So I definitely expect to see a lot more of that too. Which actually that kind of touches on another piece that I want to talk about in a little bit, which is Coinbase's new custody service.
Why don't we touch on that right now? So what's up with the custody service? I actually haven't read much up on this, so this is going to enlighten me a little bit here.
Yeah, so basically, from a investment standpoint in the crypto space, it's been a lot of retail investors, so just people that aren't, really deep pocketed. So it's like just you and I, Joe Blows. Some millionaires here and there, but nobody from like Goldman Sachs.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's kind of been what people think is going to be the catalyst for our next big bull run is creating this environment where big money feels safe, parking their, minimum $10 million investments, which is the minimum for a Coinbase custody service.
We'll be there in about a year.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So,
yeah, disclaimer, if you want to hack somebody, don't hack us. Like,
right.
we're not institutional investors or anything like that.
Yeah, so basically Coinbase has partnered up with the ETC, which is this separate company, electronic transaction clearing. So it's like this SEC compliant service that has, custody solutions in place already. And so basically Coinbase has partnered up with them to make them compliant just through that partnership. So long story short, Coinbase, one of the most trusted exchanges and wallets out there, now has this SEC compliant and custody friendly environment where if you're a baller, if you have a huge hedge fund or a big family fund, if you're like one of the Vanderbilts that has $50 million to throw somewhere, now you can do so in a more regulated way. So I was looking at their pricing just out of curiosity. The setup fee, $100,000. Insane. And the minimum balance, like I just mentioned, is $10 million.
Jesus.
Just to, get your feet wet.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, that's been the huge push this year, though. I mean, even after futures were released in December, is ETFs. I mean,
yeah.
You get that big money in there, that's going to shift the market so much.
Yeah, if you think about like the ability for a financial advisor to tell your grandparents to buy, this set of equities, plus there's like 1% in there for crypto, that 1% is going to offset any losses you're going to have in your traditional assets. So it's worth it to take that tiny gamble. So I think that a lot of people are going to be really excited about that opportunity once it comes. And I think it will still happen this year. It might be later this year or maybe even early 2019, but there's no doubt we're going to have an ETF solution in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm talking about here is all these pieces are kind of forming that last stretch of that bridge. So,
it's exciting.
Cool stuff.
It's exciting times to be in it. Unless you are, for instance, the BIS chief, so the Bank of International Settlements. He is throwing so much shade on crypto right now. It's crazy. I mean,
he's literally a fat cat. This dude is.
He's a big boy. He's a roly-poly.
He's round.
Yeah. The funniest, oh man, somebody posted an article on, I believe it was actually Facebook the other day about him saying, stop trying to create money, money is great, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And somebody posted a comment that had like 1,000 likes. It was, what was it? digital currency doesn't have enough calories for him or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I saw something like that too, where it just had just like a shit ton of people commenting on Twitter. Like, I can't think of the top of my head, but it's like they're mentioning, like, what is his belt made out of? Like, it's got to be carbon, steel. And this guy just like a perfect sphere. But I kind of saw this retaliation against his comment, basically saying that people should be devoting their energy and tech savvy towards something worthwhile. We shouldn't be fooling around trying to make money. Even Isaac Newton tried to create his own currency and it didn't work. It's like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, he said, yeah, I read that too. Well, he was saying that Isaac Newton was great at doing a ton of things, but he tried to create gold, like real
Right.
gold. And
Right.
once he couldn't do that, he actually joined like the monetary
Like
fund of
counterfeiting.
like England or something. I don't know, something like that. And yeah, he was able to tell a fake coin from a real coin immediately.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Catch Me If You Can, kind of how Frank
that's
Abagnale
exactly what I was
had
gonna
flip
say.
sides. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But it's funny, like, so the retaliation that I saw against that idea was, so here's this guy, this traditional guy that's basically like the central bank of the central banks,
Hmm.
saying, you shouldn't be trying to make money. Meanwhile, for the past 12 years, 12 or 17, I think it's 12, it's cost more money to produce a penny and a nickel than they're actually worth. So basically, somebody essentially like replied to like a tweet, so basically they're kind of referencing how much it costs to make money, like pennies and nickels, as like a retaliation to the BIS chief's comment about we shouldn't be making money. Uh, this year, to make a penny, 1.7 cents. To make a nickel, 8 cents. It's like,
They're essentially losing money
yeah,
making it. Yeah,
like
because
it's
that's
almost double what it cost to, like the face value of it.
well, that's what he was saying about the thing about cryptocurrency is that it's not even environmentally safe or whatever. Like it goes against the environment to create, whatever.
Yeah, it's like pot, meat, kettle.
Yeah,
It's but way worse. It's just
yeah.
trying his best to throw shade, but if you do just a little bit of research, it's just, you know,
Well, the whole
it's
thing behind them is they're the Bank of International Settlements, so they're the money that goes, through all the central banks to transfer, cross-border payments and stuff like that, which we
mhm,
all know Ripple has been the big, one of the big ones trying to do that. I actually
right.
just saw yesterday that, oh shoot, let me look this up right now while we're on the podcast. Um, it was IBM. Okay, so IBM just signed a deal with Australia, a
Mm,
$750 million investment to do cross-border payments with their technology.
uh-huh. Can't stop it.
Yeah.
Can't stop the wave.
So, and the big part about that, which we've talked about in the past, but I'm not going to have the numbers exactly right here, but something about for money to transfer from country to country, from person to person, there has to be something like 10 trillion or dollars just sitting in these central banks, like as
Hmm.
collateral to do this. With digital currency being able to do these cross-border payments, no money has to sit aside to do things like that. So it would open up all of these funds. It would totally destroy what the BIS is attempting to, what they do, unless they embrace the technology and they're part of it, which I don't understand. Why wouldn't you, at least be looking into when all these big companies and countries currently are, you know?
Right. Yeah, in my mind, it's like it's a no-brainer. Um, and you know what? I just came across the article for Funfair, and on the whole wave comment, the gaming company is called Big Wave Gaming, and
Mm.
it's based out of Australia.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, but they're targeting the Asian market.
Okay.
So basically, they're going to be a partnership, and they're going to start with an Asian dice game, which apparently is very popular in the area. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but it looks like Cho Han.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, Japanese dice game. So
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about
it's
Funfair. I mean,
cool.
it's down to about 2.5 cents right now, and at one point it was up to
Hmm.
about 20 cents. So once these casinos start adopting its technology and they have to hold portions of fund fair and reserve to do payouts, and that money's just sitting aside, kind of like masternodes do,
Right.
the price is just going to increase. So it's definitely something to look into. I'm very excited. I can't wait to have Jez on
I
July
know.
23rd. So
I'm ready, man. I'm not ready, but I'm ready.
it's going to be cool. So kind of on the same thing on this government adoption, we came across the Florida. So the CFO of the state of Florida is pushing his team to create a cryptocurrency chief now. So look at that
Nice.
now. Now there are being positions created at a state level in the U.S. To the adoption of cryptocurrency.
So awesome. I gotta tell you, I'm like really surprised by what seem like conservative leaning states making these inwards into crypto. Like Arizona, you can pay taxes with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Like Florida seems like a very conservative state to me. Like in my mind, I would imagine it would be like California would be in the news for this kind of stuff. But
Well, California is in the news to be split up into 3 different states right now from Tim Draper, who's big
Right.
into Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Well, it's actually kind of funny that you said that, because earlier when you were talking about, with these liberal, policies, if you really, really boil it down and think about it, more on the liberal side is more about regulations. The conservative side is actually less about regulations, which it's kind of funny how that's flip-flopped in a way. You would think conservative would be more about regulating, keeping things the same, but the liberal
Right.
side is more of the regulating side.
Yeah, what's interesting about this, about the whole blockchain, and this is going to sound like a conspiracy theory, but I was talking to somebody last night that doesn't really keep up with crypto at all. But this has crossed my mind a little bit from time to time. What if the blockchain is actually a way that's it's Big Brother, disguised as like this, really cool, hip, new technology that ends up being a way to track every single transaction, know exactly who everybody is, but it's all on the blockchain. You know what I mean?
So it's like the government created crypto like they created the internet?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, who knows? Nobody knows who the fuck created it, so,
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. For what it's worth, I just,
Well, everybody listening to this, sell all your cryptocurrency assets right now.
they're all watching.
We are the creators of it, actually. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
So, some other news that we talked about. So I believe it was Monday or Tuesday of this week. I looked in my Blockfolio and saw that my small position in Syscoin was up about 60% at the time, and kind of freaked out. I thought, great, what the hell's happening with it? Didn't see any news on Twitter or anything, and then it came out that Binance was apparently hacked. They thought it was a glitch with the Syscoin blockchain, but it was actually something related to Binance.
Yeah, there was some kind of like somebody found essentially a loophole in their API, right? Like basically somebody essentially like moved essentially a lot of funds within the same block many times. And so the Syscoin went from like 20 cents up to like $625,000.
Yeah, one single Syscoin, so it's trading at about 30 cents. It traded for $623,000.
Like, man, wrecked.
So,
can you imagine buying at the top? Has anybody checked on that guy? Like, who the hell bought that one?
I feel like it was something that they did within it, though. It wasn't necessarily one person buying that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like something they did within that block to get it transferred. Either way, Binance, got shit on for a little bit because of that. They had to reset all of their API keys. Syscoin got shit on, even though it turns out it wasn't even Syscoin's fault. It's kind of crazy. We were talking about Syscoin a few months ago. Are big on it, and here they just released their new block market within the last week. Their new, trading platform. And then this happens.
Exactly. I gotta tell you though, man, it seems like they kind of were able to squash the FUD, so they say, pretty quickly.
Yeah, well,
Just good.
I mean, it only happened on that one exchange. So that one exchange having to do countermeasures of resetting their API keys and everything like that, and actually blocking trading for a while, and it kind of pointed at Binance, and
Yeah.
not Syscoin as being the issue there.
Yeah, it was very much like a shared thing, right? And that probably helped out.
Yeah, yeah, and at least they were on it right away. I can't say other things about Syscoin. I'll tell you, I'm a little detracted from their project lately because, like I needed some help on something and when converting to the new wallet, and they
Hmm.
had to send me an invite to their support. I never got it. They pushed back on me. It took over 48 hours for me to even get in contact with them. Um, I, Word to the wise, if you're going to build out something, have your support mechanisms and have everything in place before you actually release it to the public.
Yeah, especially dealing with money, like people need their reference material like yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I had multiple thousands just like in limbo, not knowing when it was going to come back to me, like how to even get it back, a little nerve-wracking.
But one good thing is that was just added to the Gen platform. So to
Yeah.
do a master node with Syscoin,
Hmm.
so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually just saw Syscoin is like the number one um, master node by volume, I think, or it was on Masternode. Yeah, Masternode's online. Masternodes.online, like the top ranked masternode out there.
Well, the
But
huge benefit of Sys is not necessarily the return, the ROI, but it's the fact that ICOs are going to be on that platform as well, and you're going to get those ICO tokens.
right, the assets.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
it's exciting. It's
Yeah, I mean,
exciting.
there's a lot of potential there for. I mean, it's a robust platform, so we'll see how it plays out if people actually adopt it and take full advantage of it. But plenty of competition, man.
So while we're on the topic of well, we aren't on it yet, but while we're in the time frame of the World Cup,
Oh
another
yeah.
game come up here in about an hour. I came across
Yes.
an article this week where it was titled, it was on Wired.com, and it was titled "Every World Cup Footballer Should Issue a Cryptocurrency Coin." So I got a little bit interested in that. It kind
Uh-huh.
of joked around a little bit, saying there should be a Bitcane, a Cointino, Cristiano Ronaldo. Um, but
Nice.
apparently James Rodriguez, uh, from Colombian player, he plays for Real Madrid and was with Bayern Munich this year on loan. He created so there was a company that helped him out called SelfCell, a Chinese company. They did all the technicalities and everything like that. But he created his own token called the JR10, and which sold $500,000 worth in 12 seconds.
That's
Um,
sick.
yeah, it's awesome. So apparently this coin can be used for buying like you know merchandise from his site, various things like that. And the whole gist behind it is that every footballer should create one, because then that can be kind of their fan club in a way. It can rise and fall as their status rises and falls in the world football scene, and can be utilized to, like I said, purchase their merchandise and do like fan meet and greets and things like that. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. What are your thoughts on that? You're going to create a Billy coin soon?
What's funny, man? So I actually was following this project called Singular DTV
Hmm.
a few months back. I think I wrote an article about it, but um, I was really interested in it because one of my uh, favorite musicians is a guy named Grammatic, Gramatik,
Hmm.
kind of like hip hop slash like kind of like techno. It's good for coding and kind of this very not lyric heavy, like fast tempo kind of stuff, almost kind of like Skrillex. Um, but anyways, he actually made his own token on the Singular DTV platform. So now he's not being controlled by any kind of management. There's no label out there saying you need to produce this, this, and this on this time frame. He can do his own thing whenever he wants, and it's totally supported by his community of people that have bought his token.
That's awesome. Freedom, taking out the
Yeah.
middleman there. I think that's been, one of the issues with. I remember Taylor Swift removed all of her albums a while ago off of Spotify, and it was something about Spotify wasn't paying them the right paying her the right rates or something like that.
Hmm.
So that's what Singularity TV is trying to do, right? Kind of cut out that middleman. Let
Exactly.
the artists make the money. Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to change the whole landscape of how current, institutions work. I mean, we already know that, but I mean, it's going to change things. We don't even, like, we're talking about freaking soccer right now,
Right.
and players creating their own coins. Like, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and I think for me, that's really one of the biggest things that I'm excited about is what's going to be created that we can't even fathom yet.
Hmm.
Like it's in my mind, crypto is kind of like this, almost like a superpower, like it's superhuman ability. You know what I mean? It's like 3D printing retinas and steaks and shit. Like what? Insane. Like I can print my dinner.
We were talking about that here the other day at my homestead, saying that in the future we won't really have to cook anything. You just go up to a machine and say, "I want this," and it just spits that out. This
Yeah,
way it'll be
it's
3D printed everything.
dude, it reminds me of Back to the Future, like one of my favorite movie series. And it's like a Domino's pizza. It's like a little mini frozen pizza. And they have like this device where it basically like rehydrates it and it puffs it up and makes it into like this full scale Domino's pizza.
That's awesome.
It's, I don't
It's
know.
kind of like those little things you see as a kid. You put water on them and
Oh yeah,
they become
exactly.
so, so
Exactly.
so that's what the news that I have for today. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you had on in your
I
docket,
think
Billy?
that's a lot, man. That's a lot to digest, and I'm getting hangry, so it's probably a good time to cut it.
Cool. Well, let's close it out with what we started doing recently, where we both state our loser and our winner of the week.
Hmm.
So mine, we already kind of covered in the articles. My loser is going to be Binance and Syscoin. Binance and Syscoin, as we mentioned, the hack there where someone was able to sell one Syscoin for over $600,000. It was more so Binance being the loser in this, but Syscoin's name kind of got drug in the dirt a little bit. And my winner is going to be Binance. So it's kind of funny. My loser is Binance. My winner is Binance. My
Yin and
winner
yang.
is Binance because they are projecting that this year they will make a profit of 1 billion plus. So I
Insane.
mean, when you're making $1 billion, you're a winner to me. You're
Yeah.
good.
Well, and you know what? To kind of take my turn, but also piggyback on your winner. So my winner is the SIX group, the Swiss exchange that we talked about, the 130 banks in Europe, dipping their toes into crypto. I think there's a lot of bankers out there that are seeing these exchanges making a metric shit ton of money off of crypto and saying, we should probably jump into this.
Yeah.
Like $1 billion, and Binance is like a year old. Like holy shit! Like they're crushing it. Like that's $1 billion in profit, not even revenue, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my winner is the SIX group, and my loser is gonna have to be the BIS chief. Like the times, man, they are changing. Like get down or lay down.
Embrace the change.
There's nothing you can do about it.
He needs to be a loser.
Yeah, he needs to lose something.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So that's some good news. That's our podcast for the week, everybody. Next week we will have a normal, regularly scheduled podcast, and then the following week we should have on Jez Sand from Funfair. So it's going to be an exciting month over here at CryptoFizz. Just want to throw out one other thing. We are opening up a lot of advertising possibilities. So if you work with a ICO or any type of coin or anything related to crypto out there, we have advertisement abilities on, articles, on advertisements for our podcast, and advertisements for sidebar and banner advertisements on CryptoFizz.com. So hit us up at contact@CryptoFizz.com for any advertisement opportunities, and we will reach out. So that's it. I will. This is Jay, Justin, saying over and out. Billy, take it away.
Just again, wanted to thank everybody for listening as we come up on the big 3,000. This is a project of passion, and it's cool to see that we're adding value. People are coming back over and over again. So I just hope that we can keep that going, and help out as much as we can, more and more and more. If there's any way we can do it, holler at us in the comments. Find us on Twitter, in Discord. Um, Otherwise, have a good weekend, guys.
Awesome. About to go to New York Strip to celebrate the early weekend. Later,
Nice.
guys.
Peace.
Later, B.
Later.